Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Welcome to New Release Review, part of the Movie Friends podcast. My name is Seth. Today we are talking about Together from 2025, directed by Michael Shanks. If you have not seen Together yet, why are you listening to this? I don't get it, because, hey, there's going to be spoilers throughout this entire episode. So go watch Together and then come back and listen to this. My guest for today is Meagan. She's a film lover. She picked Together. Meagan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So can you tell us why you picked this movie?
I picked Together because of a couple of reasons. I signed up for this maybe around February, March, and I'd only, of course, seen the trailer when I saw the monkey. It didn't tell you anything, which was awesome. I've seen far too many horror trailers, like the Speak No Evil trailer, that just told you everything. And I mean everything about the movie. And you go into it, you're like, what's there to be surprised about?
Right. That one in particular was...
And you kept seeing it too. It was everywhere.
Yeah. I watched the original when it came out. And so watching the preview for the American version, I was like, that's the whole movie. But anyway.
Exactly. I was like, I don't want to see this now. But I did, and it was fine. But I saw the trailer for Together. It was the flower waltz music and the eerie imagery that it had. There was no dialogue besides the I love yous at the end. And I believe there were quotes from reviewers in that version of the trailer that said, one of the most disturbing films of the year, stuff like that. I didn't see it later when the other trailer came out, so maybe I'm just hallucinating that. But anyway, the trailer just seemed so mysterious but eerie, and I like contrast between very beautiful and very disturbing. I love that contrast. I'm an English major, so I can see that quite a bit. So I saw the trailer and I said, this is one of my most anticipated of the year. It was funny. My fiance is downstairs and he said, And then I was like, oh, come on, I'm dragging you to see this. And I did. He thought it was okay. I saw it was about romance and codependency and intimacy. Yeah. And given that I'm in a very healthy and good relationship and newly engaged, I figured that this would be a fairly good time to watch it.
Sure, yeah. Sometimes it's good to watch a movie. I've been married for 15 years. And good. So sometimes you watch a movie about a relationship that's similar to yours. Sometimes you watch it that's very different, but it's a good conversation starter. Sometimes, art can put some things in front of you that maybe you've never talked about, or maybe that you've been avoiding talking about, or something, that you're curious about with the other person. Okay, so how did you feel about the movie after having seen it?
My first thought, right, was the credits rolling, because, the final shot is one that you remember.
Right, yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Like, the final shot is just, like, your last memory of the film, and as the credits started rolling, I was in a sea of people who were just crying laughing. And
yes, okay.
I went, wow, what the fuck? Pardon my French. Yeah. But I was like, wow, what did I just watch? Essentially.
Yes, yeah.
I was like, what in the world was this? I mean, I loved it. I did, truly.
Yeah.
The second thing I thought, the final shot, I turned over to my fiance and I said, look, it's like when they use AI to see, a picture of you and your significant other. What would your babies look like? That's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought it was so interesting, and I love how fast-paced it was, too.
Okay.
You had things going on, and then, it cuts almost at the beat, at the middle of it. and went to something else. Or
Yeah.
you see the instances where, like, say, he's choking on her hair, or
Oh, yeah.
the saw scene, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, oh, you got to see the aftermath of this. And then you just
Yes.
don't.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
cut
that's a good
to
point. Yeah.
10 minutes later or the next day, and you're like, how do they deal with this? And you don't see
Right.
it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that as I was watching it. But yeah, we do. And some, you might say, oh, well, they're trying to save on, budget to not show some of that stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I wasn't expecting it to be funny. Not that I had a problem with that. I think that I probably saw that same trailer that you saw because I did go to see The Monkey, which was another movie that I was not expecting to be funny. And in the first few minutes, I was like, is this supposed to be funny? And then as time went on, I was like, oh, this is supposed to be funny. And so I enjoyed The Monkey more than a lot of people did because I had a good time with it. And I think people were expecting it to be kind of scarier, more in the vein of Long Legs. But
Yeah.
anyway,
See, I think
so
Long Legs was like such a massive movie that year.
yeah,
With the marketing and the build up and the
yeah,
whole, you know what Nicolas Cage looks like.
yeah.
I was kind of disappointed in Long Legs personally.
Mm-hmm.
Just the ending really didn't stick with me.
Sure,
Like
sure,
it didn't stick the landing is what I meant to say.
yeah,
It had all this build up, all of this tension, and then it ended at the climax, which it really left me hanging.
right, right,
So I went to see The Monkey because I liked Long Legs enough to see The Monkey.
yeah,
And I also like Theo James, and I love Stephen King.
yeah,
So I said, you know what, why not? And I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite of the year so far. That's why
sure,
I
sure.
was much more interested in Together, seeing that. And Keeper. Keeper actually looks really good.
I've seen neither hide nor hair of Keeper,
That's
but
the new Osgood one. It's coming
yeah,
out later.
I will be checking it out. I'm a really big fan of just going in with nothing. Like I don't want to see a trailer. Tell me
Yeah.
the filmmaker, tell me who's in it or what it's about. I'll go see it. I'm going to go see it, right? And so with Together, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, that looks pretty good. I like Dave Franco. I like Alison Brie." And then when you were like, "Hey, let's do this one," I was like, "Okay, I'm not watching anything else about it."
Okay.
So when the movie was funny, I was like, I had that same thing where I was like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And it wasn't until we see Dave Franco's horrendously stretched out penis
Oh God.
that I was like, "Oh, okay, this is like supposed to. I think this is actually supposed to be really funny."
Yeah.
And yeah, like
Oh,
I
God.
think that there were parts of it that were scary and creepy, but I did like the movie overall. The ending I disagree with on a million points. I don't understand why they did it that way. I think they should have just had Alison Brie with some like facial prosthetics, maybe. Just do it a
Really?
little bit more practical because the computerized, like you said, it looks like something you would get out of an app that you download for free.
Yeah, it looked.
It's so shocking and jarring and like uncanny valley, and you don't have time to adjust.
No, you
So,
don't.
like you said, your whole theater was just laughing. My theater wasn't laughing. I saw it with one other guy, and we were just like stunned.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was expecting something more grotesque in a way,
Yeah.
just because of the other couple that went missing. They were more
Right.
Monstro
Right.
Lizzasuit type of
Right.
disgusting.
Right. Yeah.
Then I thought back to how we pan from the computer screen to a nicely set table.
Yeah.
Nice decorations. It may have redecorated a bit, and I'm thinking, oh, they're okay. They're not gross and like dysfunctional.
Right. Right.
And then you open the door and you see this teenager-looking person that looked.
Right. Yes.
Their eyes were
Great.
too
Yeah.
big for their head.
Yeah. That's a great point. Like, why did the end result look younger?
I know it looked. They looked younger. Well, I mean, I appreciate that they looked androgynous. That was neat. But
Right.
their eyes looked too big for their head.
Yeah.
For a minute, I thought they were more masculine or more feminine, and then I'm like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
And then it ended. And then the credits rolled, and we're like, oh, okay.
Put some facial prosthetics on Alison Brie, right? You couldn't do it the other way around because Dave Franco has such a pronounced brow.
Yeah.
Do it practically. Or door opens and we have the camera on the parents who have a shocked face, and then you
That would
hear a
have been
voice
awesome.
that says, hey. Like, there's so many ways. There's so many ways that they could have done this other than what they did. And so that I will say, like, I do kind of hate the ending. Not that they merged into one, because we're not, you know, like, we're not here to look into all the plot holes and like
Yeah.
pull the movie apart. Sometimes movies have plot holes and who cares? It's a fun experience.
Yeah, I'm like that too.
Yeah. So I will say, like, up until that very final moment, I was into it. I thought it was a good look at codependency, also like being embarrassed by your partner, bitterness that kind of comes up between two people for like very stupid, silly things. I thought that it was a good little look at, you know, relationships.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so let's go through some of these characters. So first up, we got Dave Franco as Tim. How did you feel about Tim?
I appreciate that he's a musician, because I'm a musician. I just thought, oh, that's neat. But the fact that he really wasn't doing much with his life was a nice little thing to put in there. That
Yeah.
he's recorded a few EPs and trying to get his career off the ground, but that's not happened. Millie, on the other hand, is a teacher. She's been in that for a while, and she knows how to drive. Tim being the opposite of her work ethic wise was a nice touch. Tim was set up to be basically like an opposite of Millie. I forget if we see Millie or Tim first.
We see Tim sorting through records.
Okay.
At the party first. Yep. And he sees like pictures and stuff. Yeah.
I could tell that he really cared for Millie, but both of them had a very dysfunctional way of showing it at times. Sometimes during the film, I was more on Millie's side, and sometimes I was on Tim's side. Like, you could see both perspectives of how they feel for each other, even if like the communication is disgustingly bad sometimes.
Yeah.
But Tim as a character, I thought it was very well done with, especially at the end when he says, I'm a loser. I don't do anything with my life, but I know that I care for you. You know,
Yes.
Speaking personally, neither me or my other half are like that.
Yeah.
We very much have our own careers and we know how to drive, and we strive for what we do.
Sure.
But we do have our passions that
Yeah.
we would like to go into if we had those means. I guess just summing it up, I like how Tim was Millie's antithesis or opposite in a way.
Yeah, and you know, later in the film when the teacher, Jamie, is talking about this legend of told by Plato about the two halves, right?
Yeah.
And how when the two halves are together, there's four arms and four legs, and it's like it's too powerful. And I have found in my life, and this is not a universal law, but I have found that a lot of couples that work well together or stay together, sometimes you do have an extrovert and an introvert, and you have a more artistic person and then a more non-artistic person, and sometimes you do kind of have opposites. And so I like that they went that way, because one, it shows why you can see the couple working well together, but also you see where a lot of the tension comes from. Because if you are opposites in a relationship, but you don't accept that you're opposites and you don't see why that's a strength, it can be very hard philosophically to get along. I hated Tim for the most part. Like,
really?
he was just such a loser.
Yeah, no, he was a loser.
Not the not driving part. Like, I think a lot of people around the country will maybe not be able to understand, but like genuinely, like if Tim is from New York City, there's a good chance that he has never had to drive.
No, I forgot about that.
You know, why would you need? And he says, he's like, at one point, he's like, why would I need to drive in the city? Like, it's only become a problem because we moved here, and we only
No,
moved
that
here because
I'm
of
sorry, that
you.
that makes sense now. I
Yeah.
didn't
Oh,
remember
no, no,
that.
no. I think that the movie is showing us like Tim not being able to drive as a negative, in his column. But yeah, he just I I don't know, like he just doesn't seem very capable of doing like many things kind of at all. Even like as a guitar player, he didn't seem to be that good. I think that, hey, if you want to be a musician, go for it. You should do that. But you should be doing that. Like, you
Right.
can't just kind of put this category over yourself of like, well, I'm a musician. Oh, well, what are you working on? That'd be like saying like, oh, well, I'm a plumber. Oh, well, do you go to work every day?
Oh,
You got to go to work every day.
right.
And if you're going to be a musician, then that's what you have to do. So for Tim, he definitely, I mean, yeah, I get it. He's going through a quarter life crisis, and he's feeling inadequate compared to her, and also maybe he doesn't like her. Like when she proposes in the beginning,
Oof.
that was so
Oh, they did that so well because it was so awkward. And
yeah.
I'm not against reversing norms like that. It's
Yeah.
just the way that it was with everybody else. So she was so confident that he would say yes.
It's such a bad idea. Like,
I know.
even if you've been together and even if you've talked about being married, if and hey, look, like I said, there are no universal laws. And if you're listening to this and you proposed to someone in front of everyone and it worked out for you, God bless you. But I could
Actually,
never, I
you
could
know what?
never do that.
That did actually happen to us, though. Like I said that, and then I regret saying it though, because because he proposed at a concert,
Uh-huh.
but we had talked about marriage and stuff like
Sure,
way
sure, sure.
beforehand, so we knew that it would work out no matter
Wait,
where or
so
when he
explain this
proposed.
to me. Like, what happened?
Okay, so um, I don't know if any of you know who Porter Robinson is. He's a singer songwriter DJ, and
Okay.
we were in Canada doing. We saw a DJ set that he was doing. And at one point, we'd gone up to the higher levels because it was so crowded down in the floor because it was so hot outside and there were so many
Mm,
sweaty people. So we went up to the higher level, and Porter played a song that you know how like DJs don't play just their own stuff; they play like other people's songs.
yeah, yeah.
So he played a song called "Dota" by Bass Hunter that I don't like at all, and
Mm-hmm.
my fiance does, and I'm like, I made a comment. I'm like, not this one, or like, not this song. And he goes, you know, what would be what would be really funny right now? And I turn around and he's on his knee,
Wow.
and there are people filming behind us. Um,
Wow.
so we actually got video of it. Because they like whipped the camera around and
Yeah.
immediately like they whipped out their phones faster than the speed of light and started filming us.
Yes,
So
yes.
it did work out just because we had talked about it a while beforehand that we wanted to get married to each other and have a family. Like we knew very early on that we were dating to marry.
Sure,
So
sure.
we knew it wouldn't turn out like Millie's proposal. We knew it wouldn't have turned out like that. You know, seeing those two fumble awkwardly at a proposal, they means they haven't talked about it much.
Yes, right.
Also, Millie didn't have a ring either. She
Right.
was doing that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which was more also adding on to the "Are you really serious about this?"
Right. And he says, like, are you serious? And
Mhm.
I really do like how Alison Brie and Dave Franco play out that scene.
Yeah.
Because you kind like, at least for me, even though I don't really like Tim, you kind of can't blame either of them, because there's this, and awkward is the right word, right? The connection between them is so kind of muddled and confused in that moment that neither of them really know what to do.
Right.
Where if it was a sure thing and it was clearly communicated and accepted and reciprocated,
Exactly.
it would play out different. But it's an awkward.
No, it is. It was so. I lean
I
over. I'm
did
like,
laugh at
oh
that.
god, oh
like
no,
yeah
oh
yeah
no. Like
yes
it's one of those
yes
you
yes
don't. It's like a car crash waiting to happen. You don't want to see it, but you can't
hmm
look away.
yep.
You know what?
And
I'd reference the movie like that. I would recommend the whole movie like that.
right
It's like you're watching something that you might not want to see, but you can't look away.
right yeah. So Tim, at their going away party, Millie mentions to him like, oh, people think it's cute that we're matching, and then he changes his like overcoat shirt
You
thing.
know,
And
I didn't notice that.
yeah, I was like, I just don't like this guy.
Aw.
Like, because it's like, okay, look, okay, later in the film, Alison Brie asks him to give her a back massage or like a shoulder
hmm
massage.
Yeah.
And he's like, ah. And I'm like, look, dude, I don't know who you think you are, but like, Alison Brie is asking you to rub her shoulders. You just do it. Like, what is wrong? Like, what is
When
wrong with
Alison Brie
you?
asks you to do something, you do it.
Yeah, and because I also like that the movie doesn't. I guess we can move on to Millie.
Mhm.
Moving on to Alison Brie as Millie. To me, the movie did not frame Millie as the kind of like uncool, nagging fiance that would give us a reason to like side with Tim and be like, oh yeah, he's the cooler one and she's kind of not. She was super cool. They moved into like a gorgeous house
That
so that
house
she
was
could be a
so
teacher.
pretty.
Yeah, and I was like, what kind of a teacher are you that you are affording this house?
Yeah, no, that too. I
Like,
was like that. I was reminded of the house in Hereditary.
yes,
Like it looked very
absolutely.
much like it. I'm like, it's in the
Mhm.
woods. Like it looked very
Mhm.
much like that house. But no, I think the only time I thought that it was framing her like that was when the miscommunication really sets off when Tim is obviously not well. Like the water has
Yeah.
taken a hold of him.
Yeah.
The urinating, as they say, has taken a hold of him, and he's
Yeah.
clearly almost sick physically and
Mhm.
cannot focus, cannot actually like do anything. And Millie, of course, is not understanding this. She's not really realizing that he's actually not okay either.
Yeah.
Um, she might have made a comment, I believe, about, are you feeling okay? You should lie down. But
Yeah.
that's it. The
Yeah.
rest of
Yeah.
it, she wasn't paying attention to him either.
Yeah.
So I like how they had a lot of moments where you do see that they care, but other times it's like, what are they even doing? Like, why are they together? Because there's
Right.
clearly miscommunication or not telling anyone everything about something. Or it's like if Tim had just said, I think the water is doing something. Like what did we drink that might be happening? I wish that they would have believed each other a little bit more. There was a lot of miscommunication or times where they could have told each other everything
Right. Right.
and they either didn't do that, or when they did do that, the other person, for plot reasons, did not believe them.
Right. Right.
And that, of course, you can't have a movie without miscommunication.
I
But
I wish that you could, because it does get very old watching
yeah,
people be like, just say
just
it.
tell her what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be fair, though, showing up at your significant other's place of work, being a school,
Well,
and doing that, I sided with her.
absolutely. Absolutely.
What do
Yeah,
you mean?
that was started. Yeah, that's when it was getting a little too much.
Yeah.
So Millie is a teacher, and they're moving out of the city because she took a position. She's been working in a school, but she wants to work with a smaller group so that she can have an impact on their lives. So again, it's not like they're moving from the country to the big city so she can make more money. Like, I don't know. And maybe this is because I'm a dude, but I sided with her on like pretty much
You know,
pretty much everything. And I thought that they also played the Jamie character well. They set it
that was
up
done
with,
really well.
yeah, they set it up with Millie's friend saying, hey, you're going to move to the country and you need to just find a country guy to be with. And so when the first person that she meets is Jamie, who's also a teacher, he tells her, I was on the committee that selected you and you really impressed me. and he just seems very into her. And so us watching the movie, not knowing yet that there's a cult,
Exactly.
not knowing yet that he's gay, we
Right.
just say, well, we kind of think that there's going to be tension in the relationship and
Yeah.
she's going to meet this guy. I thought all of that was done so well
I
and like
agree.
so subtly, and his real story and motivation coming out bit by bit as the movie progresses, because he could have, right then and there, when he thought she misinterpreted, when he was like, oh, have you done exploring yet, he could have been like, oh no, I'm gay, I'm not in,
Yeah.
they could have dropped that, and they didn't. So it's like they let us along with him long enough each time for us to not really know what was happening.
Right.
The movie actually starts with a search party, and they're searching for
Yes.
a couple, and we see two dogs, and then we see two dogs go into a cave.
I hated that scene. And I'm not saying it was bad. And it was a great opener, I will say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can't watch anything related to dogs or children
Sure.
without getting very fearful of what's
Yeah.
going to happen to them.
Yeah.
Is like, does the dog die? Is a website you can go to.
Right.
And I don't like seeing children or animals in danger.
Yes.
So that was I think that was the most that I actually like covered my eyes
Mm-hmm.
and like just wanted to kind of die a little bit. Because what I hated was hearing it. There was a film called Skinamarink that I saw a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think that changed my brain chemistry to the point where now I'm much more squeamish and much more. I can't like sometimes I can't watch something because it's like too graphic or it's too you're left in the dark, not knowing what's actually going on.
Yes.
Especially at the end of Skinamarink, there's the time loops looking thing.
Yeah.
You hear children screaming and blood.
Mm-hmm.
I think that actually traumatized me. So now hearing the dogs yelping and growling and being in pain, I really hated that. I will say it was done very well. I hated hearing that. Because you're left to your imagination. And also, dogs aren't sentient like how humans are.
Yeah.
So they had even less of a thought as to what was going on. They just thought, oh, this is water. We're thirsty, let's drink.
Right.
And then they can't even think, oh, we drank something bad. They can't even, I don't know if they can even think that something's happening to them.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have a yearning for this other canine, but it hurts.
Right.
That's all I could think about in that scene was, oh my God, they're in pain.
Right.
No, I hated it, but it was good. I hated it.
I'm glad you brought up Skinamarink. People hate that movie.
Mhm.
I personally loved it, and I count that as my number one scariest theater experience that I've ever had.
I completely agree with that. I hated every second of that.
I was having physical reactions.
Yeah.
I was watching the screen through my fingers.
Yeah.
I was watching the corner of the screen.
Exactly.
And like genuinely was like, I want this to be over. I want this to be over. I want this to be over. And like, and this sounds so dramatic, especially like I love horror. Horror is probably my second favorite genre. A lot of horror people hate Skinamarink because they're like, nothing happens in it. It's like,
that's the
I
point.
Disagree. I disagree. Well, yeah, like, but when it was over, it was hard to like get up and walk, and I was just so freaked out. So I totally understand in films, and this will lead into my next point about this movie. Oftentimes the unknown or the unseen is scarier because your brain wants to fill in information.
Yeah.
So you're watching a movie and you're like, well, what could it be? And so your brain starts racing. Well, what could it be? And in Skinamarink, we're never given an answer. We're never given answers to anything.
Right.
Again, I liked this movie, but my overwhelming thought as I left was they really just explain everything. And I won't name another movie because it just came out, but I
Yeah,
looked at the
oh boy.
last few horror movies that I've seen this year, and looking at all of them, it's like there's no mystery that's left. Every single tiny thing that can be explained is explained fully. And I kind of don't like that. Like, you show me a cave with pews in the wall and some bells and a hole with water in it. I'm good. I don't need to know every other little detail. I don't need to see the video. I kind of leave it a mystery. And nothing here is left to a mystery. Even like we've already talked about the very ending. Like they even show us that. So I don't complain about modern horror. I think there's good and bad throughout all of the decades, but I would like to see a return to mystery because it's scary. It's scary when we don't see. And
Yeah.
when you think about movies where you see the monster too much, right? Like right now, everyone's thinking about Jaws. We're in the 50th anniversary of Jaws. And
Yeah.
the reason why Jaws works so well is because you
You
don't see
don't
the
see the
shark a
shark.
ton. And then in the scenes where we do see the shark full on, it, to me, ceases to be a horror film and becomes an action adventure movie.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. I
Yeah, it's
haven't
not
seen Jaws
scary
in
anymore.
years, but it's just like that. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mind seeing it. I will say that the point that you made about how we could have panned around to see parents' faces
Yeah.
and left that to our imagination, I think that would have worked better.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. But I do think that seeing the nice polished version of whatever they were going to be as that one person contrasted very nicely with the missing couple.
Sure. Sure.
And
Yep.
walking out, my fiance said, I have one question. I go, what? And he goes, Alison, Brie, and Dave Franco's characters. Why were they so put together and neat and very much solid one person,
Yeah.
while the missing couple was grotesque and disgusting? And I said,
Yeah.
because they didn't want it.
Right.
They
Right.
didn't want to do that. They were fighting it, and they
Right.
were really not a good match. And he goes,
Yeah.
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate how we got to see the end results of a healthy relationship. I guess as healthy as the cult would have made it to be.
And they show like that in order for it to be like a complete joining, you have to like open yourselves up to each other, and they do that through the blood, right? Through like literally like opening a wound, where these two had many wounds, I guess,
Yeah.
which were already opened to each other throughout the movie.
I thought that was more just metaphorical. I do see where the cuts were coming from there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm doing like the motion here where they're connecting their wrists.
Yeah.
I do see that now. I thought that was more of just a metaphorical way of opening yourself up to someone, like being fully accepting of a person regardless of their flaws and their imperfections. Because when you're in a relationship with someone, ideally you know pretty much everything about them.
Yeah.
And what they regret in life, what they are not good at, what their vices and their flaws, maybe as an angry individual or as someone who's always scared, or someone who has issues with even addiction. Like that could really hurt people. But if you truly are willing to be with somebody and you know all of this, that's what opening yourself up really means. Being willing to stay with someone regardless of their flaws and of their shortcomings. You do see Tim and Millie's, especially Tim's. You do see his shortcomings as a person and how they might not treat each other that great sometimes, but relationships are like that.
On Millie, and like you said, it's kind of like there's miscommunication that they don't fully understand. He's trying to express to her something's wrong. I thought the craziest thing that she said was after so one part of their problem is that they have not had sex in a long time, right? And so when he shows up at the school and he's like just crazed, they go into the bathroom, they have sex, and they're not able to pull apart, which is equal parts horrifying and funny, and it's mostly horrifying because of the setting. Like we know, like they are in an elementary school, and you see a kid come in, and like me as an adult, I'm like, this is the scariest thing that has happened in this movie. Yeah.
As a teacher in New York State, that's abysmal. Like,
yeah.
You always, rightfully so, watch what you say around children. You never put a hand on them. The children's safety is your priority. For a second, I was taken out of the setting because the scene was very sweet in a messed up way.
Yeah.
And then you're snapping out of it, and you're like, oh, they are in a school bathroom.
Yes,
there are children present.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous for Millie. I'm like, you're gonna lose your job, girl. Get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do so. I don't know what you can do, but try and do something.
Well, she's like, I'm sorry, and then rips him out, and it's like, pretty horrifying. But then later on, when he's like, something's not right, she says something like, well, it always hurts after a while if you haven't done it in a while. And I'm like, Millie, are you insane?
Yeah, I was
like I saw what you saw, and I wasn't even there, and I know that was something absolutely crazy. You need to stop and be like, huh, yeah, you're right. Huh.
It's, know, like they
nuts.
You should be aware that a penis should not be stuck like that. You should be aware that even if you haven't had sex in a very long time, you as the female will not be tensing that much to not be able to get the penis out.
And like I said, when they finally point the camera down,
oh God,
it's similar to if anyone listening has seen Joe Dirt. There is a scene in Joe Dirt where a dog's testicles are frozen to a porch, and it like it's and it's like trying to like stand up, and it's just stretching as if it's like a piece of taffy. That is what we're looking at here.
See, I wouldn't want to watch Franco. That. But
it's
the fact
it's so absurd.
They probably spent so much time making that penis look so realistic too.
Right.
That's funny. Right. Like it did look realistic too, which was awesome. I was like, it just looks gross, but it's so it looked like a piece of taffy. Like you said. I think I was laughing, but I was also like, oh no, like
Well, that's another really good scene where it's a good mixture of you feel relief that they've come together, but you feel horror of the setting, and then you feel that it's funny when they can't, but then you also feel like, oh God, this is actually horrible. There's a lot of things happening in that, and again, like I think the chemistry between Dave Franco and Alison Brie is great. They're married in real life, I believe.
They are, yes. They've been married since 2018, I believe.
Yeah, their chemistry is great. I think that's pretty undeniable, and like what they're able to pull off in several of the scenes in terms of like tone switching. I think maybe the loudest that I laughed is when Tim gets a prescription for diazepam, which was Valium.
Yeah.
And then later on, as they're like fusing, he's like, muscle relaxers. And she's like, is this Valium?
Relaxers.
Yeah. She's like, is it Valium? He's like, it's called diazepam.
It's diazepam now.
I mean, it's to pull off a joke in the midst of that, I thought was quite well.
I agree, and it did play off with the, like your, depending on how you and your significant other are, you're gonna like correct each other on stuff that is so unimportant in the moment, but you're still gonna want to do it.
Very good point.
It's like, why would you say that? And then then you're like, well, people do that. They might be talking about something very serious, and then or like texting about something very serious, and then they have to say your grammar wasn't proper. It's your, not your.
Right.
And you're like, are you serious?
Right.
Why? So I do like that. I did like how he was like correcting her on that, and it was probably like, what do you mean? You are fusing together. Why are you so uh interested in the correct term for your muscle
Right.
relaxer? Just get the muscle relaxer.
Right. So Damon Harriman plays Jamie,
Oh, okay.
and I've seen him in several things before, but most, I guess, I know him most as Charles Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and also
Um,
in Mindhunter. And
okay.
so
I've not seen
when,
either of those. I know Once
oh
Upon a Time
yeah,
in Hollywood's on my list for sure.
he is a great Charles Manson. When they're sitting down to talk, I was like, this guy is such a mixture of like intriguing but creepy but charming
Yeah.
and charismatic, but also I don't trust this. And my alarms were mostly just going off of like, oh, this is going to be a relationship, not knowing that it was actually like, oh, this guy's some crazy cult guy, which ultimately, I guess, the cult and him weren't totally incorrect because they end up fusing together.
Mhm.
And but I thought he was great. I thought he was a really good addition. I liked every moment, everything that he was doing. I was a big fan of. How did
I
you feel?
I thought he was very well done as well. I didn't see it as a more. I mean, I had tidbits of the whole relationship thing, how Millie might sense some more um nice, like a better connection with Jamie than with
Yeah.
Tim, and she may have wanted to pursue that in some way. They didn't go that route, which I did like. Um, but I like how they kept that kind of up in the air, maybe.
Yeah.
Because they have the shared profession, and he seems to be in tune with her more than Tim was at the time. I did really like how he had 2 rings on.
Yes. Yep.
I loved that, and I thought to myself, "Oh, his husband must have passed away," and then you realize that he's not passed away. But
Right.
then also, when you see I actually missed this, the photo of Jamie and his husband, I didn't actually recognize either of them. It obviously was like, well, yeah, those 2 are Jamie, but Jamie looked like such a he did, because he is one person,
Right.
actor-wise. He looked much more of one person than Tim and Millie did when they were together.
Right.
If she
Right. And
I'm
and
not good
that's
at
why.
explaining it, but
Oh, no, 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 right. Well, right, because he is one person, but that's why again I think that the route that they went with it just
mhm,
it doesn't it doesn't
'cause
it
he
doesn't
looked
work.
there was nothing no alarm bells going off that they were 2 people. I had just thought his husband had passed away, and going back, I'm like, they didn't really do that well. They
Mhm.
did, but considering what Millie and Tim look like at the end, they
Right.
could have done
Right.
his appearance a little bit better. They
Yeah.
could have modified it in such a way where almost like Uncanny Valley, where
Sure.
you're seeing something very familiar, but there's just something, and you can't place what it is, but there's something very not right. I've had dreams where you see people in your dream and they look very, very much like normal people, but you have a feeling in your chest that's like, this is not right. You need to get out now. There's
Right.
something wrong, and you can't place it. They could have done something with Jamie, I think, that really brought those alarm bells ringing. But overall, I did very much like how Jamie was presented in the film. I thought he was a great gateway into the whole cult thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was pretty surprised, with the opening with the dog and then them going into the cave. I was like, wow, this is again, like this is a very literal. They're telling you that there's magic. They're telling you that it's this water. I just wasn't expecting for it to be like kind of closer to like a science fiction-y type, fantasy type thing, which I was fine with. But I was like, wow, they're really doing it. I guess when they have sex together is when it transfers to
Yep.
her.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I got that very fast to me.
she never goes and drinks the water,
Yeah, she
and
never
so
drinks
it's
it. I was waiting
yes,
for her to drink it.
yeah.
And then for a second, I thought the wine bottle had been filled up with water at some point.
Oh, interesting.
Um, but then you realize that only Tim is experiencing the yearning or like
Right.
the the pull.
Yeah.
And you realize, oh, Millie's not feeling that at all. She's not a part of this at all. It's just Tim. And then right after they have sex, you realize, oh, that something was transferred there. She must be like that's how she's feeling it.
So then, we go through the diazepam and they make this decision to like, all right, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna fuse together. There were parts of it that I liked. I thought that there were some good shots and there, good effects. There were some shots that I thought did not look great. It's interesting, the history of body fusing. Most recently, the substance. We've got a Society, which the ending to Society is one of the best ever practical effect body merge type thing. If you guys haven't seen Society, I don't know that I can recommend it, but it is famous.
But then about this story now.
And then, this movie got some flack for ripping off a few other recent films.
Yeah.
One of which I actually just watched before hopping on here. It's called A Folded Ocean. And you can watch it online if you just Google A Folded Ocean. It's a short film. It's only about 12, 13 minutes. And it's pretty much the ending of this movie. Some of the shots are extremely similar. It's hard to say if there's inspiration or if there's borrowing. Not for me to say. But how did you feel about the whole CGI grouping together?
I really enjoyed the contrasting. You know how I said earlier that I love things that might seem beautiful or like they have this sort of ethereal vibe, but then they're also very, very gross. I loved how the lighting in the room was so heavenly
Mm,
and so bright and so peaceful. And normally how especially in gothic horror books and things, the weather is very much a tell. So that's why you always see rain in funerals, and stormy weather is like
yeah.
representative of conflict or danger. So the weather in Together was very, very telling, I think, especially at the end where the whole room was filled with sunlight. It's a beautiful room. There's no sign of anything bad.
Yeah.
And then you have these two people that are moaning, crying in pain, fusing together. It's a beautifully grotesque scene that I really enjoyed watching. I don't think the CG looked particularly bad in anything. I didn't. I did think the shot of the two of them side by side forming from the front was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of maybe something I had seen in the past, like ancient artwork about that.
Sure,
It
sure.
really reminded me of just like a very seamless sort of fusing together, just
Yeah.
a bit. I really did like that shot, especially, and then you pan away. But it was I think the ending was like the actual ending fusing scene was done incredibly well. And
Yeah.
the crackings and you see the ripples underneath the skin was disgusting.
Yes.
I can't stand bones cracking. So I'm always like like trying to like flinch away. But I
I'm
thought
okay
that looked
with bones
incredible.
cracking. Slicing is what gets me.
Yeah.
Anytime if you take a thin knife or blade and cut skin, I am like, oh, please don't show me that.
It's
But
needles for me.
bone cracking, oh yeah. Ooh.
Like watching The Substance I mean, I love The Substance. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies ever. But seeing the needles go in was like, I can't do that. Even when I get blood
Yes.
work done or have to go in for an operation, I can't look at the needle. I can't do it.
Yeah.
People like looking at the needle for some reason, like my sister does, I think, and I can't do it. For me, knives, it's only knives and eyes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Also, the shot of them with the eyes linking together, I'd seen that in the trailer,
Yeah.
but it was very uncomfortable watching that as well, just because they're so close, and if you ever did something like this, where you put something up to your eye, you can feel it before it happens.
Right.
Ugh, I can't deal with that. No, it was done very well, though. I think the ending.
I do like Tim's line where he says, "You're the dream that came true."
Oh,
He was
yeah.
I thought that was good.
That was very
I like
sweet.
the Spice Girls being played. I thought
it's
that
the
was
song "To Become One."
Yes, yeah.
That's
I thought that was good.
That was a great needle drop.
Yeah, and then my only other complaint about the final scene, I found it really distracting. It had a score that was very similar
to Rebirth from Hereditary.
Yes.
Yep.
The final scene in Hereditary, there's a specific tone that just played over this, and I was like, you can't do that.
No,
I'm sorry, like,
I felt the
now
exact
you've gone
same
too
way.
far.
No,
Yeah.
I did feel the exact same way. I'm like, this is in the same key. It's
Mhm.
very got the horns and the drones and the swelling.
Yeah,
It's
too much.
You get that
Too
exact
similar.
thing. And I didn't mind that it was similar, but it was too similar. I
It
agree.
was too similar, yeah.
I like of course, in Hereditary, it works just as well. Or I should say, in Together works just as well, because you are experiencing something not good,
Right.
but also it's viewed in a more triumphant way. But yeah, that was distractingly similar. And I've been doing show checks for Hereditary because I work in a theater, and I've been hearing that again, and I'm like, no, that is very similar to Rebirth.
And then my final note was absolutely insane final shot.
Yep. Final shot was like the best. Like, I'm not saying it was the best they could have done, but definitely made an impression.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much the movie. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but it gave me some things to think about in terms of codependency and again, like bitterness that kind of comes over time and how to healthily communicate that. So yeah, I appreciated it.
I thought it was very well done. I liked the unnervingness of the body horror, especially the prosthetics and the CG were mostly excellent. I very much liked the relationship dynamics between the two characters, how realistic it was to, maybe not to me personally, but to couples in general. People are like that. Couples are like that. And I think what really worked for me with the ending was that even if they might have had their shortcomings as a couple, they might not understand each other perfectly. They really are the best fit for each other. They really are soulmates in a way. Just because not everything is similar with a couple doesn't mean that they're not soulmates.
Right.
And that just, that doesn't mean that they're not the perfect one for each other.
All right. Well, hey, Meagan, thank you for joining me today. Where can people find you online?
If you'd like to, you can find me at comebackbogman on Twitter. Aside from that, I'm not really much online, so that's where you can find me.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Well, yes, thank you for joining me. And hey, thank you very much for listening. Wherever you're listening, we'd love it if you'd give us a rating and a review. If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a comment right on the episode. Tell us what you thought about Together, or drinking water out of a cave, or dogs fusing. Yeah, that'd be a fun one to leave on Spotify comments. Or you can send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about the movie, codependency,
hair eating.
You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. And hey, till next time, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.